A poor girl brought a homeless man to her ex's wedding, not knowing he was a hidden CEO. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. The rain had been falling all afternoon, thin and cold, the kind that seeped through every layer of clothing. The bus stop on the corner of Maple Street was almost empty. A few cars passed by, spraying water across the curb, but no one really noticed the girl sitting alone on the metal bench. Her name was Lily Carter, 23 years old, holding a cheap umbrella that was losing its shape. She clutched a small envelope in her hands, the wedding invitation that felt heavier than it should. Her ex, the man she had loved for 3 years, was marrying someone else in just a few hours. Someone wealthier, someone his family approved of, someone who was a better match. Lily had spent the whole morning convincing herself that she would walk in there with dignity. She would show them that she was not broken, even if she felt like a cracked window about to shatter. Her stomach tightened. She had no date, no fancy dress, and barely any money left. But she had promised herself she would go and prove that she could stand on her own. A soft cough broke her thoughts. Just a few feet away, under the thin roof of the bus stop, sat a man wrapped in a worn, faded jacket. His beard was rough, his hair damp, and his shoes looked like they had walked 1,000 miles. He shivered violently, his fingers red from the cold as he tried to warm his hands. Lily hesitated. He looked like he had not eaten in days. She could have ignored him. Most people did. But instead, she reached into her purse and pulled out the only granola bar she had left. "Sir," she said softly, "you should eat something." The man lifted his eyes. They were tired and oddly gentle. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice cracked from the cold. "I do not want to take your food." "It is all right," Lily said. "I can manage." He accepted the granola bar with both hands, almost reverently, as if it were something precious. "Thank you," he whispered. "This means more than you know." Lily offered him her small umbrella, too, pushing it toward his shoulder. "You look like you need it more than I do." He paused, stunned by the gesture. "You do not even know me." She gave a tired smile. "You do not have to know someone to be kind." The bus approached then, lights blinking through the rain. Lily stood, smoothing her thrift store dress. Her heart beat too fast. The wedding was only 20 minutes away. Before stepping on board, she turned back to the shivering stranger. Something inside her twisted. Maybe it was loneliness. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was the desperate desire to not walk into that ballroom alone, while everyone whispered behind her back. "Look," she said, swallowing her nerves. "I have to go to a wedding, my ex's wedding. I know this sounds crazy, but would you come with me? Just as company. You do not have to talk, just stand there with me." The man blinked, rain sliding down his face. "You want me to go with you, looking like this?" Lily shrugged faintly. "Why not? You would be doing me a favor." For a second, he said nothing. Then a quiet smile touched his lips, unexpected and warm. "If it helps you," he said, "I will go." The bus doors opened with a hiss. Lily motioned him toward her, unaware that the man she had just invited, the man she believed was homeless, was actually a hidden CEO whose life was about to collide with hers in a way she could never imagine. The bus ride felt longer than it should have. The rain tapped softly against the windows as Lily sat near the back, her hands twisting together in her lap. The man she had invited sat beside her, holding her small umbrella carefully, almost as if he did not want to damage something that did not belong to him. His clothes were still damp, and his shoulders slightly hunched, but his presence felt oddly calm. Lily kept glancing at him, wondering if she had made a foolish decision. She barely knew him. She did not know his name. She did not know where he came from. But she remembered the way he looked at the granola bar earlier, as if it had been the first kindness he had received in a very long time. That alone had made her trust him. When the bus reached downtown, she stood, smoothing her dress once more. The hotel where the wedding reception was being held towered above the wet sidewalks, glowing in the mist like something from another world. Lily felt a familiar drop in her stomach. She had been here before, years ago, when she used to dream about a future with her ex. The memory stung. The man followed her quietly as they entered the lobby. The marble floor gleamed under the chandelier lights. Guests in formal outfits walked past them, talking in bright, cheerful voices. Lily suddenly felt painfully aware of her thrift store dress and the man's worn jacket. "Are you still sure about this?" he asked gently. She nodded, even if her voice trembled. "I would rather walk in with someone than stand alone in front of all those people." He gave a soft, understanding nod. "Then I am here with you." They waited in line to check in at the reception table. Lily felt her chest tighten when the wedding planner looked her up and down, then glanced at the man beside her with slight confusion. But Lily kept her chin up. She had promised herself she would not show fear. Inside the ballroom, everything sparkled. Golden lights, white roses, the orchestra tuning up for the first dance. Lily inhaled slowly, preparing for impact. Her ex, Jason Miller, stood near the stage, greeting guests with the polished smile she once knew too well. His bride glowed in a designer gown. Their families gathered proudly around them. Jason's eyes found Lily almost instantly. His smile flickered. Surprise, disbelief, and something that looked dangerously like amusement. He approached them, hands in his pockets. "Lily, I did not think you would actually come." Lily steadied her breath. "I was invited, Jason." He let his gaze slide toward the man beside her. "And you brought company?" His tone sharpened with quiet mockery. "Interesting choice." The man did not react. His posture remained steady, respectful, almost dignified despite his weathered clothing. Jason chuckled under his breath and leaned closer to Lily. "You know, you could have just asked one of your co-workers to pretend to be your date. This feels a little desperate." Lily felt her cheeks heat. Before she could speak, the man stepped slightly forward, not confrontational but calm. "She came here with courage," he said softly. "That is more than many people can say." Jason blinked, thrown off for a second. Lily felt a surprising rush of gratitude wash through her. Before Jason could reply, a voice from across the room called out, "Sir! Excuse me, sir!" A man in a tailored suit hurried over, out of breath. He looked at the homeless man with sudden recognition. His eyes widened, his expression shifted. I almost did not recognize you," the man stammered. "Would you like me to inform the host that you are here?" Lily frowned, confused. Jason's brows knit together. The man in the worn jacket gave a small smile, almost apologetic. "No, not yet, thank you." The suited man nodded quickly and stepped away. Lily turned toward her companion, her heart thudding once. "Do you know him?" He looked at her for a long second, then answered simply, "I know many people in this city." He said nothing more, but something in his voice, something faint and steady, sent a strange shiver through her. It was the first quiet hint that the man she brought to her ex's wedding was not at all who she thought he was. The ballroom lights softened as the reception moved into full swing, and Lily tried to steady her breathing while she and her companion moved farther into the room. The soft music, the quiet clinking of glasses, the scattered laughter of guests in formal attire, all of it pressed against her like a weight. She felt small among them, like a misplaced piece in a perfect display. Her companion walked beside her without saying much, but his calm presence grounded her. She did not know why it helped, but it did. A server passed by, carrying a tray of appetizers. Lily realized she had not eaten all day, but her stomach twisted too tightly to accept anything. Her companion gently nudged the tray toward her. "You have had a long day," he said. "You should keep your strength." Lily shook her head. "I will be fine. Let us just find a corner where no one pays attention to us." They moved toward a quieter area near the large windows overlooking the city. Rain streaked down the glass, leaving blurred trails of light from the traffic below. Lily stared at the city she had once believed she could conquer. Now it only looked distant. Her companion watched her carefully. "This place brings back memories for you." "It does," she admitted. "Jason brought me here once for a company gala. His family kept talking about how lucky he was to have someone like me. At the time, I thought they meant it. Later, I realized they were surprised he chose a girl without money." She let out a breath she had been holding for too long. "I keep wondering what I did wrong." His voice lowered. "You love the wrong man. That is not a crime." Lily gave a tired smile at the gentle certainty in his tone. She did not understand how someone who claimed to have so little could speak with such quiet confidence. Just then, a cluster of Jason's relatives approached. The women wore elegant dresses, and the men looked polished in their tailored suits. Lily straightened instinctively, bracing herself. One of the older women looked her up and down. "Oh, Lily, you came. And you brought someone?" Her eyes drifted to the man's worn clothing with thinly veiled surprise. Lily kept her voice steady. "Yes, he is here with me." Another relative leaned forward slightly. "And what do you do, sir?" Her companion met their curious stares with calm politeness. "At the moment, I am between things." The relatives exchanged looks, clearly interpreting it in the worst way. One of them whispered something behind a raised hand. Lily's cheeks warmed with embarrassment, but before she could say anything, a voice cut in sharply. "Leave her alone." Jason's cousin, a woman Lily had always liked, stepped forward. "This is their evening too. Show some respect." The group stiffened, muttered a few awkward apologies, and moved away. Lily exhaled slowly. "I am sorry you had to deal with that," she said. "You have nothing to apologize for," he answered. "I have endured far worse comments in my life." She blinked at that. The way he said it, as if he had lived in many different worlds. A new announcement echoed across the ballroom, reminding guests to prepare for the couple's first dance. The room shifted as people moved toward the center once again. Lily stayed near the window, not ready to join the crowd. Her companion stood with her, hands loosely at his sides. "You know," he said quietly, "people like them are loud because they are afraid of facing their own shortcomings." She gave a faint laugh. "You sound like someone who has seen a lot." He held her gaze. "I have, more than you think." Before she could ask what that meant, a hotel staff member hurried across the room and stopped right in front of them. His eyes landed on her companion with a sudden jolt of recognition. "Sir," he said breathlessly, "I am so sorry. I did not realize you were attending tonight. If you need anything, anything at all, please let me know." Lily froze. Her companion simply replied, "Thank you, not yet." The staff member nodded and rushed away, leaving Lily staring at the man beside her with growing confusion. He did not look like a homeless man anymore. Not when people recognized him. Not when staff spoke to him with that tone. Lily felt her heart thump once, loud enough to echo through her entire body. Who exactly had she brought to her ex's wedding? The ballroom grew louder as the evening moved on, but Lily felt herself becoming quieter inside. The encounter with the man in the tailored suit had unsettled her more than she wanted to admit. She kept glancing at the companion she had brought with her, trying to make sense of him. He looked calm, almost composed, even though everything about this place should have made him uncomfortable. He noticed her watching him. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. Lily nodded, though her voice was soft. "I just do not understand what is going on." Before he could answer, the master of ceremonies called for everyone to gather near the stage. Lily stood near the edge of the crowd, trying not to look wounded. Memories pressed against her chest, heavy and uninvited. 3 years of dreams. 3 years of believing she would be the one standing under those lights. Then suddenly, she was not. The man beside her lowered his voice. "You do not need to watch this if it hurts." "It does not matter," Lily whispered. "I just want to get through tonight." The music swelled. Couples around them swayed gently. Jason spun his bride in a wide, dramatic arc, clearly showing off. When his eyes drifted toward Lily again, the smirk returned. That was the moment Lily felt her pride crumble. She turned away from the dance floor, heading toward the back exit of the ballroom. She bumped into a table as she passed, almost dropping her purse. He followed her immediately. "Lily," he said softly, "wait." She stopped in the dim hallway outside, breathing quickly. Her eyes shimmered with tears she refused to let fall. "Why did I even come? What was I thinking? I look ridiculous. Everyone knows it." "That is not true," he said. She laughed once, but it was the kind that pushed out pain. Jason was right. I probably looked desperate. "You are not desperate," he said, steady and calm. "You are brave. You walked into a place where people expected you to break, and you stood." She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "It does not feel like I am standing." "For what it is worth," he said, "I admire what you did. Not everyone would face something like this head on." Lily looked up at him then. His eyes were warm, steady. Nothing like what she expected from a man she had found shivering at a bus stop. For a moment, she felt strangely safe. "You really do not have to stay with me," she said quietly. "This is not your problem." He gave a soft, almost sad smile. "I told you I would come with you. I meant that." A waiter passed by carrying a tray of sparkling drinks. The man reached out, took 2 glasses, and offered one to her. "Let us take a breath," he said. "One small moment. Then we decide the next step." Lily accepted the drink, her fingers brushing his for a brief second. "Thank you," she murmured. They stood together in silence, the distant music muffled behind the ballroom doors. The moment felt strangely gentle, almost suspended in time. Then the doors opened again, and a familiar voice echoed through the hallway. "Sir, I am sorry to interrupt again, but the hotel staff has prepared the private lounge for you if you need it." It was the same man in the tailored suit. His eyes flicked briefly toward Lily, then back to her companion with a respectful nod. Lily blinked. Private lounge, respectful nod, recognition. Her heart gave a small, confused jolt. The man beside her took a slow breath, as if he could no longer delay the truth forming around them. "Thank you," he told the suited man, "but I am not ready yet." The suited man stepped back, giving him space. Lily stared at her companion, her voice barely above a whisper. "What is happening? Who are you, really?" He looked at her with a calm she did not understand, a calm that did not belong to a homeless man. "We will talk," he said softly, "but not here." The hallway felt colder suddenly, and the truth she had ignored since the moment they entered began to settle in. This man was not who she thought he was, not even close. The hallway outside the ballroom felt quieter than the celebration behind the doors, but Lily's heart was beating too loudly for her to enjoy the silence. Her companion had just promised that they would talk, but he had not revealed anything yet. She felt suspended between fear and curiosity, unsure which one would win. He walked with her down the carpeted corridor until they reached a small alcove near a row of tall windows. Soft light from the city filtered in, casting pale reflections across the floor. The music from inside faded into a distant hum. Lily folded her arms, partly from nerves, partly from the unfamiliar chill in the air. "You keep saying we will talk," she said, "but I still do not know what any of this means." He took a slow breath, as if he was searching for the right place to begin. "I did not come here tonight expecting any of this," he said. "You were simply kind to me when you had no reason to be." "That is not an answer," she replied, her voice shaking slightly. Before he could continue, the ballroom doors opened again. Jason stepped out, irritation written clearly across his face. He looked between Lily and the man at her side with open suspicion. "There you two are," Jason said. "People are talking, you know. They are asking why a stranger keeps getting approached by staff." Lily straightened. "That is none of your concern, Jason." Jason scoffed, folding his arms. "You showed up here with someone no one knows, someone who looks like he came off the street. Now the hotel staff is treating him like royalty. Forgive me if I find that suspicious." Her companion remained calm, but there was a quiet firmness in his voice when he spoke. "If you have a question, ask it directly." Jason stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Fine. Who are you really?" The man did not answer right away, and Jason gave a smug smile, assuming he had cornered him. But before he could press further, another staff member rushed down the hallway, slightly out of breath. "Sir," the staff member said to Lily's companion, "your driver is waiting outside, and the hotel manager asked if you need security to escort you out later." Jason's expression wavered. Lily felt her breath catch. Her companion gave the staff member a polite nod. "I will let you know soon." The staff member bowed slightly and left. Jason stared, confused. "Driver? Security? And why would a manager ask you that?" The man looked at Jason evenly. "Because they know who I am." Lily felt a swirl of shock and understanding rise inside her. The hints, the recognition, the respectful tone. It was all pointing in one direction she had refused to believe. Jason laughed once, awkwardly. "What, are you some kind of celebrity?" "No," the man said gently, "but I am not a beggar." Lily's breath hitched. Jason blinked, unsure how to respond, and for the first time that evening, he looked genuinely uncertain. The man turned to Lily then, his voice softer. "I know I owe you an explanation, and you will have it, but I want you to hear it from me, not from whispers in a hallway." Lily swallowed. "Then tell me." He hesitated, not in fear but in sincerity. "I would rather you hear everything when we are not surrounded by people who wish you harm." Jason frowned at that. "Is that supposed to mean something?" "Yes," the man said calmly. "It means you should treat her with more respect than you do." Jason opened his mouth to argue, but Lily stepped forward and spoke first. "Jason, go back inside. This is not your moment. Not anymore." The firmness in her voice seemed to startle even herself. Jason stared for a beat, then scoffed and walked away, muttering under his breath as he re-entered the ballroom. Silence settled again. Lily turned back to the man beside her. Her voice was small but steady. "Why did you not tell me anything from the beginning?" He looked at her with a mixture of regret and quiet admiration. "Because the way you treated me, the way you offered kindness without expecting anything. It is rare, and I wanted to understand who you were before I complicated your life with mine." Her heart tightened at his words, but confusion still pulled at her. "So who exactly are you?" He held her gaze for a long, gentle moment. "Lily," he said, "I will tell you everything, but not here. Come with me. There is something you should see." And for the first time that night, she felt a shift, something changing, something rising from the confusion. A truth was coming, and her life was about to turn in a direction she never imagined. Lily followed him down the quiet hallway, her heart beating faster with every step. The sounds of the wedding faded behind them, until all she could hear was the soft hum of the hotel air system and her own unsteady breathing. She had no idea where he was taking her, only that something important waited at the end of this walk. They reached an elevator near the private suites. He pressed the button without speaking. The doors opened, and he gestured for her to enter. She hesitated for a moment, then stepped inside. When the doors closed, the silence grew heavy. He glanced at her gently. "I want you to see the truth for yourself. Not through rumors, not through interruptions." Lily swallowed. "I still do not understand why you are doing all of this for me." He held her gaze. "Because you were kind and real. That is something I do not often find." The elevator softly chimed as it reached an upper floor. The doors slid open to reveal a quiet, polished hallway that looked very different from the wedding level below. It was quieter, more private, lined with artwork and soft lighting. Lily stepped out slowly. At the end of the hallway stood 2 security guards. As soon as they saw him, they straightened and nodded respectfully. "Good evening, sir," one said. "Your room is ready." Lily blinked. That familiar jolt of disbelief returned. Security guards did not speak like that to a man living on the street. Her companion placed a hand lightly on her shoulder, guiding her forward. "Come," he said softly. They walked to a large set of double doors. One of the guards opened them, revealing an elegant private lounge. The room glowed with warm lights, modern furniture, and tall windows overlooking the city skyline. It looked like a place meant for someone powerful, someone wealthy, someone used to respect. Lily stepped inside slowly, her eyes wide. This cannot be for you." He exhaled gently, as if releasing the final thread of his disguise. "It is." She turned to him, confusion swirling with a rising sense of fear. "Then why were you at the bus stop? Why did you look like you had nothing?" He walked farther into the room, then turned toward her with quiet honesty. "Because sometimes I need to disappear. The company, the press, the expectations. It becomes too much. Every so often, I step away. I dress simply. I walk through the city. I watch how people really live. And on days when life feels heavier than usual, I find myself sitting in places like that bus stop." Lily stared at him. His eyes no longer looked tired and lost. They looked like someone carrying a burden she had never imagined. "I did not want anyone to recognize me tonight," he continued. "I tried to stay invisible. But you did not walk past me. You did not treat me like I was less. You offered food. You offered kindness. You offered dignity." Her breath caught. "I did not know who you were. That is exactly why it mattered." His voice softened. It was real. She felt the truth sinking in. He had not lied to manipulate her. He had not been testing her. He had simply been a man trying to disappear for a moment, and she happened to notice him. But even so, the truth was overwhelming. Lily stepped closer, her voice quiet. "Then who are you, really? What is your name?" For the first time, he looked directly into her eyes without hiding anything. "My name is Daniel Hartman," he said. "I am the founder and chief executive officer of Hartman Industries." Lily's knees almost weakened. Hartman Industries was one of the largest private tech firms in the state. She had seen the name on news headlines, conference banners, and charity events. Daniel watched her carefully, gauging her reaction. "I never planned for you to find out like this, but you deserve the truth." Lily felt her heartbeat pounding. "Why bring me here? Why tell me now?" "Because I want you to understand," he said, "that everything I said tonight, every moment I stayed by your side, was because I chose to, not out of pity, not out of obligation, but because I wanted to." She stood there, trying to steady herself as the truth settled into her bones. The man she had helped at a bus stop, the man she had brought to her ex's wedding, the man she had trusted without a single reason, was a millionaire CEO, and everything she thought she understood about the night had just changed. Lily felt the room tilt slightly, as if the floor had shifted under her feet. Daniel Hartman, founder and chief executive officer. A name she had only ever seen in news articles and tech conferences suddenly stood inches from her, speaking in the same gentle voice she had heard at a bus stop. She stepped back without meaning to, her thoughts racing. "This is a lot. I do not know what to say." Daniel did not move toward her. He kept a respectful distance, his voice calm. "I understand. I did not tell you earlier because I did not want to overwhelm you, and because tonight was already difficult for you." Lily shook her head, struggling to find solid ground. "You let me believe you were homeless. You let everyone in that ballroom stare at us. You let Jason humiliate me in front of his family. Why? Why would you let that happen when a single sentence from you could have stopped it?" Daniel's expression tightened with quiet regret. "You are right. I could have ended it. But you approached me with kindness when you thought I had nothing. You offered help without judgment. I did not want to take that moment from you by revealing something that would shift the balance between us too soon." His sincerity was clear, but her emotions were tangled. Hurt, confusion, disbelief, each one pulling at her like threads. "So all of this, the staff recognizing you, the private room, the security, it was never an accident." "No," he said softly. None of it was an accident, but I never meant for it to scare you." Lily crossed her arms, her voice trembling. "I am just a girl who works part-time and struggles to pay rent. And you are all of this. A man with power, influence, money. It feels like we live in two different worlds." Daniel took one slow step forward, his tone gentle but steady. "Maybe our worlds are different. But the moment you spoke to me at that bus stop, our worlds met. And I want you to know something." He paused, searching for the right words. "I did not feel seen tonight in that ballroom. Not by the guests, not by the staff, not by the people who whisper my name in newspapers. I felt seen when you handed me a small granola bar with cold hands and said I deserved dignity." Lily looked away, her heart twisting. "I do not know if I can trust this. Trust you." "I understand," he said quietly. "After what you went through with Jason, trusting anyone must feel impossible." Her breath caught at the accuracy of his words. Daniel continued, "I'm not asking you for anything. Not tonight. Not after everything you endured. I'm only asking for the chance to show you who I am without the noise, without the title, without the weight of expectations." She stared at him for a long moment. The sincerity etched in his voice, the calmness in his posture, the complete absence of pressure. None of it matched the arrogance she once feared from powerful men. But fear lingered anyway. "I need time," she said softly. "I need space to understand what all this means." Daniel nodded immediately, without hesitation. "You will have all the time you need. I will not rush you. I will not push you. Whenever you are ready to talk, I will be here." Lily took a slow breath, still overwhelmed but no longer drowning. Daniel's patience softened the edges of her fear, even if she could not admit it yet. He gestured gently toward the elevator. "Let me take you home. No expectations, no pressure. Just a safe ride back." She hesitated, then nodded. As they walked toward the elevator together, Lily felt the first quiet shift inside her, a small, fragile thread of possibility, faint but undeniable. Even in her confusion, she sensed that Daniel meant every word. The ride back to Lily's neighborhood was quiet, but not in a heavy way. Daniel sat beside her in the back of the sedan, giving her space while still being close enough that she did not feel alone. The city lights passed in long streaks across the windows, and Lily let her eyes follow them, trying to gather her thoughts. When the car stopped in front of her apartment building, she hesitated before stepping out. The place looked even smaller and older than usual, especially after leaving a private lounge that belonged to a world she had never touched before. Daniel stepped out as well, though he kept a respectful distance. "I can walk you to the door," he said, "but only if you want me to." Lily nodded. "It is all right." They walked together through the narrow hallway. The flickering light above her door hummed softly, a familiar sound Lily had heard almost every night. Somehow, it felt more noticeable now. She unlocked her door but did not open it yet. Instead, she turned to him. "Tonight was overwhelming. I am still not sure how to process everything." "I know," Daniel said gently. "You had a heavy night even before any of this happened." She folded her arms, not in anger, but in self-protection. "You say you were not testing me, but how do I know that? You came into my life disguised as someone else. It is hard to trust that this is real." Daniel lowered his eyes for a moment, then looked back at her with the same sincerity he had shown all night. "You are right to question it. If I were in your place, I would struggle too." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something small. It was the granola bar wrapper from earlier, carefully folded. "I kept this," he said softly. "Not because I needed food, but because it reminded me that kindness still exists without cameras and without motives." Lily stared at the wrapper. The memory of that moment at the bus stop washed over her again. The rain, the cold, the exhaustion, the instinct to help him even when she barely had enough for herself. Daniel continued, "I have met thousands of people in rooms filled with wealth, but very few looked at me with the compassion you did when they believed I had nothing." His words were quiet but firm. They carried weight, not the weight of money or power, but of truth. Lily felt something shift inside her. Not certainty, Not yet, but the first sign that trust might not be impossible. She looked down at her hands. "I still do not know what you want from me." "I want to give you a chance," Daniel said. "Not because of what happened tonight, but because of who you are. I want to help you find work that fits your talents. I want you to have stability, confidence, and choices. Not charity, opportunity." Lily swallowed. "And what do you expect in return?" "Nothing," he answered immediately. "What you choose to give, if anything, should come from yourself, not from pressure." She leaned against the doorframe, her heart softening despite her confusion. "I've never met someone who talks like that." "That is because most people with influence forget that they can use it to lift others instead of impressing them," Daniel said. Silence settled between them, calm and gentle this time. Then he spoke again, voice steady. "I will not push you, but when you are ready, I would like you to visit Hartman Industries. Meet the people. See what opportunities exist. The decision will always be yours." Lily took a slow breath. For the first time that night, she felt the faint spark of hope, small, uncertain, but real. She nodded once. "Maybe. I can try." Daniel's eyes softened. "That is all I ask." He stepped back, giving her space to retreat into her apartment. "Good night, Lily." "Good night, Daniel." As she closed the door gently behind her, she leaned her forehead against it, her heart racing with something new. A door had closed tonight, but another one, unexpected and impossibly bright, had just opened. The next morning, Lily woke earlier than usual. Sunlight filtered through the thin curtains, painting soft stripes across her small apartment. She sat on the edge of her bed for a long moment, remembering every detail from the night before. The wedding, the humiliation, the unexpected warmth in Daniel's voice, the truth he revealed. Everything felt unreal, as if she had stepped into someone else's life. After a few minutes, she rose, showered, and dressed simply. She made herself a cup of instant coffee, but her hands shook slightly each time she lifted it. Eventually, she placed the cup down and took a steadying breath. Daniel had offered her an opportunity, one without pressure, one she could walk away from at any time, but he had also given her something she did not expect: dignity. By late morning, Lily stood outside the glass building of Hartman Industries. It was taller than she remembered from the news, with a sleek modern design that reflected the sky. People moved in and out through the large revolving doors, professional and focused. Lily hesitated for a moment, then stepped inside. A receptionist greeted her warmly. "You must be Miss Carter. Mr. Hartman is expecting you." Her stomach tightened. She followed the receptionist to a private elevator, which carried her up to one of the highest floors. When the doors opened, Daniel was waiting for her. He was dressed in a tailored suit now, but the gentle expression he wore was the same one she had seen the night before. "I am glad you came," he said sincerely. Lily nodded. "I am still nervous." "That is natural," Daniel replied. "Let us take this one step at a time." He guided her through the office floors, introducing her to his team, explaining projects, and showing her the work environment. No one looked at her with judgment. No one whispered. Everyone spoke to her with respect, following Daniel's lead. After the tour, they stood by a wide window overlooking the city. The view stretched for miles. "Lily," Daniel said gently, "I know last night changed things for you. I want you to understand that my offer comes with no obligations. Whether you take this job, or another position, or none at all, it is your choice." She looked at the view, then back at him. "I have never had someone believe in me this way." Daniel shook his head softly. "I am not giving you belief. I am giving you space to see your own potential. That is what you deserve." Emotion swelled in her chest. "And what about us? What does any of this mean?" He paused, then spoke with the quiet honesty she had grown to trust. "It means that I care for you, not because of last night, not because of what you did for me, and not because of what you could become. I care because I saw your heart before I knew anything else about you." Lily felt her breath tremble. Everything inside her, fear, uncertainty, hope, slowly settled into clarity. She stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper. I want to see where this goes. I want to try." Daniel's expression softened into something warm and unmistakable. "Then we try," he said. He reached into his pocket and unfolded the same granola bar wrapper he had kept since the moment she gave it to him. He placed it gently in her hand. "This," he said, "was the moment I realized that even a man with everything can feel invisible. And you saw me anyway." Lily closed her fingers around the wrapper. "I saw a person who needed kindness, nothing more." "And that," Daniel replied, "is all I ever needed." Standing there in the sunlight, in a place she once thought she would never belong, Lily felt something she had not felt in a very long time: peace. Her past had closed behind her, quietly and without bitterness. And in its place, a new beginning waited, bright and open, built on truth, respect, and the kind of kindness that changed everything. "Ready?" Daniel asked. Lily smiled softly. "Yes, I am ready." The story ends not with wealth or status, but with the simple truth that kindness can open doors that power never could.